Hello, I'm Dr. Rohit Borkar and would like to welcome you to Ayur Clinic Goa. We are one of the few recognized Ayurveda centers in India. Ayurveda is a 5,000 years old science and we provide body constitution, diet, lifestyle to bring body, mind at peace. We think mind, body and soul should be at balance, and this is the main aim at Ayur Clinic Goa. Located at the shores of Arabian Sea in North Goa, India, me and my team of skilled doctors and therapists cure the ailments of both Indian and foreign people in our clinic. The range of therapies start from consultations with determination of body constitution up to Panchakarma treatments. Panchakarma is a Sanskrit word formed by Pancha meaning 5 and Karma meaning action, and it is a series of massages along with other methods to free the body from remnants of insufficient digestion. Ayurveda uses ancient Eastern medical experiences of more than 5,000 years to identify the underlying causes that led to ailments and chronic diseases. Of these, post-diagnosis and internal examinations are means to find the imbalances in the human body. The therapy is supported by remedies made of healing plants that help for safe return to health. This form of therapy is mostly free from side effects. It needs some time to take effect though.
Namaste, my name is Dr. Siddesh and I am working with Ayur Clinic Goa. One of my specialty is to do the Vidya Agni Karma. Vidya is the Ayurvedic acupuncture and Agni Chikitsa is to give the heat at that particular point. Okay, where we are pouring some special needles where people are getting the pain, and for that person we are just passing the heat. So according to Ayurveda, when there is Vata increase in the body, you are getting the pain. So we have to just pass that Vata from somewhere. So through that needle, that Vata passes out and people gets a relief. We are instructing our therapists to continue the treatment so that the effect will be much longer. Also we are putting some special paste also which will be helpful to relax that muscle for maximum time so that there will be no pain and there will be a good circulation of blood at that particular point, which helps you to remove the swelling and the instant pain.
This form of therapy is mostly free from side effects. It needs some time to take effect though. Furthermore, you will be informed about the best diet for your constitution type, so you will be enabled to continue your treatment with the best nutrition plan for you. A team of ambitious therapists from Kerala will support your therapy with massages, special treatments and physiotherapy that make you feel you are the right place with your concern.
At Ayur Clinic Goa, we usually try to follow a holistic approach to our treatment process. It is basically interdisciplinary in nature, so that we take into consideration different aspects of human body. We focus on the cause of the problem rather than treating just the symptoms, so that healing happens at a deeper and broader level. The human body is one complete unit and not just one single dimension object. So the problem inculcating in the human body should also be solved and resolved at different levels. I have a keen interest in alternative, non-invasive techniques in healing process. So I try to inculcate and incorporate all these things in my practice.
Hello, I'm Dr. Saita Borkar and I'm in charge of Department of Dental Health and Surgery of Ayur Clinic Goa. I have received my degree of Bachelor of Dental Surgery from Goa University. Our team believes in patient's first approach. We communicate, we listen, we examine and explain the treatment plan to the patient. I believe in minimal intervention, keeping nature at its best and suggest Ayurvedic ways wherever possible.
Hi, my name is Sushant Raikal. I am from Goa. Here at Ayur Clinic Goa, I teach yoga with combination of asanas, pranayamas, partner exercises, eye exercises, meditation. We also do yoga therapy for older age groups and people with certain conditions.
Our team of doctors in Ayur Clinic is prepared to handle your ailment with the uttermost care. They are highly experienced experts that won't give up until you feel your health is improving. And our therapists are the best you can get. And all this brings you a positive, healthy, and pain-free body in your life.
Agora espero sim que todos já estejam a ouvir. Eu vou também dar aqui a entrada ao Dr. Rohit. Ok. Hello, Dr. Rohit, how are you? All right, so are you listening to me? Yeah?
Yeah.
Now you can hear. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to do an introduction in Portuguese. I believe most of the people that are watching us, they are Portuguese. So just for the introduction, I will just present yourself to the viewers in Portuguese, and then we just carry on in English, all right? Ok, portanto, boa tarde a todos. Estamos aqui para mais um Conversas na Vila, desta vez com o nosso grande amigo Dr. Rohit Borkar, está a cerca de 10 mil quilómetros de Portugal. É um parceiro nosso, é um parceiro que já nos conhece há vários anos, é um amigo e uma pessoa em quem confiamos imensamente nesta prática da Medicina Ayurveda. Nós, basicamente, hoje tivemos que trocar o horário e o dia da semana que normalmente costumamos fazer o Conversas na Vila. Isto derivado também do fuso horário, lá são mais de 5 horas e meia do que aqui, e então teve que haver este pequeno ajuste. Espero que quem quisesse ver que esteja presente. No entanto, este vídeo vai ficar gravado tanto no YouTube como no nosso Facebook, portanto podem rever depois ou apanhar a parte que não conseguiram ver noutro momento que seja mais oportuno. Portanto, o Dr. Rohit Borkar, ele tem as suas clínicas em Goa, mais concretamente no norte de Goa. É um parceiro, como já disse, que normalmente acaba por ficar com a segunda parte das nossas viagens, em que tem o conceito terapêutico espiritual, a questão do yoga, do Ayurveda, das massagens, a praia, nas nossas viagens. E temos, obviamente, um prazer imenso de o ter aqui connosco hoje. Esperamos que tudo corra nas melhores condições, porque, pronto, estas questões tecnológicas relativamente à internet, às ligações de internet, por vezes, são um pouco o problema de não conseguirmos passar a mensagem, mas penso que esteja a funcionar tudo bem. Vocês podem passar sempre aqui a comentar no chat e nos comentários, tanto no Facebook como no YouTube. Se tiverem algumas questões a fazer, podem colocá-las. Se eu achar aqui em consonância com a conversa e com o fluir da conversa, podemos fazer logo essa pergunta ao Dr. Rohit. Se, entretanto, não assim for o melhor para a conversa e para que se siga e prossiga de forma também a aproveitar o máximo do tempo, faremos no final. Ok, now I will go forward in English. All right? So, Dr. Rohit, it's a pleasure to have you here with us, as you know. It's a blessing to know you. It's a blessing to be part of your team, because we are your team in Portugal. And it's a pleasure to have you with us. Today, the subject, it will be the stress, anxiety, and depression. I believe it's something that most of the people nowadays with the lockdowns, it's the most common. I believe it will make all the sense. I hope you don't have all these issues, and the best thing, it's how we can prevent these kind of symptoms. So in the first place, I want you, Dr. Rohit, to present yourself. I already told some details in Portuguese, but it's better if you just present yourself. Okay, go ahead.
So basically, as an introduction, David knows that I have 3 clinics already. One where we have always met David and Sylvia in Baga. The other one which also David and Sylvia brings the groups to Mandram, and the third one, which we have just started as a big retreat in the forest. Been practicing Ayurveda for almost 15 years now, and been a student since Ayurveda since many years now. So it's my pleasure here to give some guidelines about the science, and we can hopeful that we give the best results from the science at the end.
Sure. You have a huge connection with Europe, with this side of the world, because you have many foreigner patients that normally they go and meet you in Goa for treatment, normally to have the Panchakarma retreats, isn't it?
That's right. Basically, what happens is, people also are going back to the nature after knowing their body, because we are, as we talk in Ayurveda, we have these 5 elements. We talk about the meridians. So we try to understand your basic body of your system, and as a result, we are trying to get more and more out of it. And that is why you see that more and more of Europe or many other countries as well from the world are going for Eastern way of approach of living. Yeah, so I definitely think it's a good way of cleansing, understanding your system, being the doctor of your own body. That's very
Of course.
important.
Of course. The video that you are seeing at the moment, it's the video that we just passed in the beginning. If you do not see, you can find this online on YouTube. This is a little presentation. Nothing of these images. It's how it is nowadays. It's a bit old already. I promise that next time I will meet you in Goa, I will do a video with you. It's normally people just they try to meet you when normally they don't know how to deal with some symptoms that which are recurrent from our society, and mainly the stress, the anxiety, and depression. And it's like a full package that you have with your clinics, the ambience of Goa, because Goa has definitely a different energy and a great energy. We can feel that. Me and Sylvia, we consider Goa as our second home already, and it's because of that energy, the air, the smell, the feeling. And today, with the pandemics, the problem of people moving themselves, how we can provide your service. We can do it online. We can do some consultations online. Of course, it's not the same having the touch, having the wrist, the pulse diagnostic, but it's possible to do it, right?
Yes. So what the people are doing is also asking me, we are contacting them, or they are contacting me, and then we are asking them a lot of questions for almost about 10-15 minutes. A lot of history is taken, and then we try to understand which element they are dominant with. We also can see the tongue physically, over the camera, and there are lots of things. We try to understand their diet, whether they are doing it properly or no, and so on. So all these things are taken into consideration, and a guidance is given for the person at the end.
Of course.
And some herbs as well, if it's required.
Yeah, sure. So we're going to start from the beginning. That's how we should be doing. So for the people that are watching us, Ayurveda can be based in 3 principles. Can you explain which one they are and how it can affect our body?
Right. Basically, what we are trying to understand is that we have to understand what are the 5 elements, right? Depending on those 5 elements, we try to understand how a person is. Like we have this earth, water, fire, air, and space. And depending on that, we ask people to eat accordingly. For example, imagine I'm a fire type and I'm taking more fiery food. Fire and more fire will ultimately want that fire to come out. So it will come out in the form of acid, headaches, anger, irritation, ulcers. And that's why we ask fiery people to cut down on fiery food, such as tomatoes, chilies, lots of spicy food, and so on. Imagine
Alcohol,
I'm air type.
coffee as well, isn't it?
Yes,
Coffee.
as well.
Coffee.
Yes, definitely. So, or else imagine I'm an air type and I'm taking a lot of airy food, cabbage, beans, bread. Air will make me more airy, more bloated, more gassy. and definitely will give me more problems with joints. The air dries up the joints and muscles and so on. So we work on lubricating the body. Those are very important.
Sure.
So like that, we try to understand which type you are, how each element influences. So that's the first principle. The second principle, as it's very important for us, is the meridians, the channels. Because the channels are like the roads. Like when a child is given a big road or a big room, the child keeps running. And when the child is given a very small room, the child can just get sit at one place and get frustrated. So same thing is the meridians. The energy has to flow from top to down. If the energy gets blocked, it will start creating those emotional thoughts or emotions in that chakra or that areas. That's why we believe that the nadis, the meridians, should be kept open, not very open, because if it's kept open, there will be a lot of anxiety, nervousness, and that if it's blockage, will it create only the same thoughts running all the time. That's why we believe in singing, dancing, chanting, doing yoga, stretching, qigong to release the emotions on regular basis. That's the second principle. Like we give an example of meridians, for example. You must have seen sometimes, like when it's cold, your meridians close,
Yep.
right? You start feeling emotional, you start feeling tired. That's what happens in many Nordic countries. And when it's warm, the meridians open up, you start feeling very happy, positive, and so on, right? So definitely that's something we experience on the nadis. We also experience, like when you're driving car, you will notice that when you are playing fast music, you drive even faster, and when you play slow music, you will drive slower. This is not what I'm saying. Everybody has experienced this, and that's
Sure.
what happens is the meridians as well. And therefore, according to the yogic culture or from Ayurveda point, the meridians should be kept in a normal phase. The question, since we are talking about stress today, we are noticing that physical body, the meridians are getting blocked. So people are becoming more and more earthy, getting more and more tired
Yeah.
in the body, and the energy in the brain is becoming very, very active. So that's one of
Sure.
the things we
Sure.
talk about. That's the second principle. Yeah.
So we already talked about the five elements, about the meridians, and then there is the Agni. And this is a nice subject, because normally people just think, okay, I eat so well, I eat so healthy, I eat only green food, raw food, or just vegetables, and that doesn't mean that normally people will feel very, very, very well, because that food cannot, probably it's not the food that they must eat, or they don't know how to proceed, because what is good for me, it's not good for you, it's not good for everybody. So we need to check which type. And I believe it's really, it could be sometimes difficult for the people to understand about Ayurveda, because the rasas, the tastes that we have, will change the way that you feel. And being the digestion a huge thing in Ayurveda. Probably, I believe it must be the bigger thing in Ayurveda starts from the digestion.
Definitely. So first of all, I'll say hello to everyone I know up here: Louis, Sylvia,
Yeah.
Agnesh, Wanda. Namaste again. Right. So coming back to the topic, David, about Agni, you must have noticed sometimes young people, young in the sense, of course, we are young as well, and we are, who is 90s also young, about body and mind. So what we mean is, like when they are a teenager, 14, 15, 16, you see that they're eating everything wrong, but nothing happens. The
Yeah.
same thing you experience when you are crossing 40. You see the same food, you might not be able to digest. So each one of us in Ayurveda has a different metabolic capacity. So imagine you are cooking on a full flame. You're cooking the same food as I'm cooking, but you're cooking on a full flame. Your food will get cooked in 10 minutes. For example, meat. And if I'm cooking on a very small flame, the meat will take 2-3 days. Yeah. So that's what we were trying to understand, that the metabolism is a very important concept in Ayurveda.
Sure.
So that definitely in many sciences we also consider, including Ayurveda, that what you are is what you eat. So if you start eating wrong food, it will go into your body and create health issues. Like the
Sure.
other day, I was discussing with you as well, if you remember, a disease for us is like a friend who comes and stays in the house, more than 10 days. So in the 10 days, you know whether to throw that friend out or you want to hug him and keep him for all the time. So same is the disease. So the body experiences that after a certain thing, your body likes it or is going to push it out or is going to create a reaction. That is what we understand as well. So diet is a very important thing in the concept of Ayurveda.
Sure, of course. Because as we are made of five elements, also the food we eat, they have the five elements.
Right.
And if we have too much of what we do not need, we will have a huge imbalance in our body, and then we'll start the disease after that imbalance. That's how Ayurveda can help in all these body types like Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. People can, if they don't know what means Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, they can check on the internet. There's all over the place, and it's easy to understand what I'm saying. But normally there are body types who are more sensible than others. For instance, at the moment, there is a nice book which is the Vata Syndrome that you talked to me about a few years ago, and I want to try to. I tried to find it, but it was impossible. I couldn't find it. So if you can tell me where I can get it, I will do it for sure. And the Vata Syndrome, it's a type that Vata. It's a type that normally it's more receptible to like the stress because of being hairy and being with too much movement. And I believe you will explain how it is, and we can just go to the subject of stress, anxiety, and depression with all the body types and how the people can manage those symptoms. So we can start with the Vata type. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically you have to understand that we understand the anxiety with different types differently. There are different reasons given by Ayurveda. Maybe if somebody from Ayurveda field is listening to me, maybe I might miss out some things, but I'm trying to explain most of the things what I understand.
Sure.
Vata people usually are air types, and as you said, David rightly, there's a book on Ayurveda which says Vata syndrome. That means that 70% or 60% of people living in metros, they say, have become Vata in their mind. That means their body energy is all shifted here, and they have forgot their body. It's like if I am talking to David and suddenly somebody else comes and I'm just focusing on that person, I just forgot about David. He'll feel upset. So same thing is the thing. The person has just forgotten about the body and they are in the mind. And what is happening as a result? The person forgets his grounding, and as a result, they're always in the mind. They're always about the future. They're always, experiencing nervousness. Like for example, I think it's about 4 in Portugal now. Imagine you have a
It's
meeting in 5 minutes.
3:30.
No, I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
Say you have a meeting in 5 minutes, and I'm just continuing and continuing. A Vata person already will start getting nervous, panicky in the mind. So they always have questions in their mind going on. So that's why we often ask Vata people to work on grounding. That means we ask them come home from work and lie down. Before sleeping, lie down and do breathing. I also ask them to practice long, deep breathings, like you breathe in and hold a breath for 5 to 10 counts and exhale. So what happens is they start to work with the grounding, which means that they have got a lot of air. They need to get earth and water balance in their body. And as a result, what happens? Air people cannot sleep as well. There are a lot of action going in the brain. Their meridians are open in the night. So they bring even what we are talking or whoever says something to them in the sleep. So they have to come home, lie down, change, relax the energy, and go to sleep. That's why we often focus on air types to do hip openers, forward bends, mula bandha. Mula bandha is a practice where you lock or contract your pelvis and focus on it 3 to 4 times a day, 5 times. So you breathe in, you focus on your pelvis, you contract and hold for 5 counts, and then you relax and then you breathe out. So you do this 5 times, 3 times a day. This is something we give practice, so your energy is going back. So we focus on air type who are very emotional. Air person, we also ask them not to have too much airy food in the evenings, like raw garlic, raw onions, caffeine. These are all stimulants. So imagine I'm taking too much stimulation in the evening, my mind will go too fast. That's another thing we talk about, air type. And then we'll continue as well.
Sure. So the breathings with the retentions are really important, and also the singing, the dancing. To I believe probably the Vata type are that type that normally it's things or feels more challenging the way of focusing or focus in things. So it's really complicated for them to have the attention of one thing. They are always trying to see everything at the same time, which is completely impossible.
Right.
About the yoga practices, the best it is the restorative practice, like yin yoga, a more gentle yoga, isn't it?
Definitely. So we can understand that a Vata in the morning can do a lot of exercises, strong yoga. Why? Because air people don't like mornings. They are snoozers in the morning. So you talk to them and they will be not happy in the morning to talk to. So we say you can start dancing in the morning to make a happy hormone energized, fast yoga. But in the evening, 6 to 5 hours before sleeping, it has to be a restorative yoga. We also ask them, as a breathing, as I said, where you are breathing in and out. We also, we mentioned to put an alarm every 5 minutes. Why? Because an air type is not grounded. Like, as we are talking here, air type is listening to us, but their mind is already thinking something else, maybe
Sure.
probably about going to do something next and so on. So in that case, when they put an alarm of 5 minutes, when they're breathing, they will not think of, oh, I should go and switch off the TV. Oh, I should go and do this. So they are only focusing on that 5 minutes for the breathing. So it's very
Sure.
important.
Sure. The about treatments that they can have, Ayurvedic treatments, which are the best ones and which type of oil, because they are already cold types. And normally Vata people has too much problems in the articulations, too much air, dryness. So I believe there must be a good oil to apply, right?
Usually, as an air type, air is drying in nature. So air people would get dry skin, dry mouth, constipation because of the dry intestines. So again, fish oil, omega oil. If not, then the simple things is to take sesame oil externally. Oil pulling with sesame oil for a vata is very important. Coconut oil, no, because coconut oil gets hardened very fast, and vata is already cold. The meridians are blocked. It will not go in the blood circulation. So
Sure.
sesame
Sure.
oil, warm oils are ones which is recommended then.
Okay. Okay.
So that's one thing. Reflexology is something that we recommend as well. Why? It helps them in grounding.
Grounding.
And half an hour before shower, applying oil on the body. It helps them to bring the grounding too.
Perfect. So before I go to the next type, which is Pitta, I have here just a question from Vanda, asking if in India the cases of anxiety, depression, and stress are less frequent than here in this part of the world.
No, it's not true like that. What is happening is, in India, there is a lot of social, like we live as a family. Of course, everybody lives as a family, but there is a lot of support coming from. We have joint families mostly. So if I am stressed, my families, my uncles, and all that, they would come and start talking to me. So in that case, what happens is we don't have to go out to speak to a specialist. But
Sure.
as India is also getting more and more outside, like we are going and living in metros, we don't have our uncles staying with close to us, my auntie is staying close to me. And then that is the time people are opening up and going to the psychotherapists, specialists to talk to. But in the earlier days, they would only speak to uncles or aunties or parents and so on and finish it up. That's what is the
Sure. Sure. The second question, it was already answered, which is about if Ayurveda and yoga practice and the food provided from the knowledge of Ayurveda can make all the difference. Of course, it can make. We already talked about that, so done for
Definitely,
here.
as I also said, singing and dancing, that's very important for everybody. So singing, dancing also helps people. So that's
And
what we
about the
recommend
people
often as
that
well.
and about the people that don't know how to sing, that must be a problem.
No, so you listen to any favorite song that you like
Sure,
and get
sure.
into it.
Or you go to the shower and you close the door.
Yeah, that's fine also. Do.
Okay, so let's move on to the Pitta type. How this affects Pitta type?
Okay. So usually pittas are fire. So fire are known as warriors. They need to release that fire out. So first of all, we ask them not to take too much fiery food, that is chili, spices, alcohol, caffeine, to let go. To release that fire is very important. So if I am already taking fire more in my diet, I become even more like I would say, volcano, and then my body cannot relax. So as a result, there's a lot of action. My patience is lost, and that can create stress as well. Now if I am, now this has happened a lot with people with air and fire. They are ones, since they love to move, they love nature, and in the lockdowns they're not allowed to go out so much. The energies are blocked, and as a result, that is also happening, that there is a lot of stress coming up. And that is why we often say to both air and fire, exercise in your house, jump or sing in your house, do stretching, let go, and so on. And don't put so much fire as a fire type inside, but instead start taking cooling food, not cold but cooling, like cucumber, mint and cucumber, so that the body starts to cool down. you know and again, as we said, in the evenings, if they can slow down, they can start meditating within, would be a very good thing. As I said, singing meditation is good for both. Why? But the first mind sings, the second mind relaxes. Fire being the warrior types, they need to release that fire out. So if you don't know to sing, again, release, chanting even Om, chanting your own name if you don't believe in Om, and so on, is also very important. So for fire type, often we say no fiery food, especially 5 to 6 hours before going to sleep. Why? If this fire is accumulated in the body, it will come as stress, and as a result, you will dream a lot about fiery things, and the next day you will not feel grounded. That is one of the reasons as well.
Sure, because Pitta is a body type which normally the Agni eats in a big amount, so it needs to come
Put
down.
it down, definitely. It's also that we believe that fire is in the liver and the pancreas. A lot of twists, a lot of side bends, a lot of left nostril breathing,
Hmm.
because right side is the heating side, left side is the cooling side. A lot of ujjayi breathings, that means where you breathe in, hold a breath, and breathe out. That's why.
Sure.
And also can be some things like shitali breathings, where you fold your tongue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this can be. You can also contact, like for example, Sylvia, if you want to know about this techniques of breathing. It would be useful in that case.
Sure. Sure. At the moment, we are about you. You're just speaking about that, and at the moment on Saturday mornings, Sylvia, she's giving specific yoga classes for the chakras and specific chakra for a specific niyama as well, and as a huge component of treat some kind of symptoms. And I believe if the people are interested who are seeing us at the moment, they can contact us. And we have always in mind when we do the yoga or we practice the yoga class or we just create and structure a yoga class, having the body types in mind. So it's important. And if the people want to try, and we are offering some classes at the moment because we are having now something with the city hall. We have a project that it's normally a year project that they launch. So if the people want to try, go ahead. And now for the kapha type, which is more or less my type, together with Pitta. What is my constitution, so I have nothing to hide for you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So kaphas are earth and water, and they are very grounded. Lockdown has actually made kaphas, if they are not been exercising, made them more slower. And one of the reasons for getting anxiety or stress for kaphas or any types is because the energy in the body has slowed down. There's no circulation. There's only circulation focus on the brain. As a result, the body is getting tired, the mind is running faster. So imagine, a car, one side is running faster than the other side. What will happen? It will break into parts. And that's what is happening with kaphas, that the body is getting bored and the mind is running faster. And that's also creating panic, creating a lot of imbalance, creating a lot of fatigue. And that's why for the kapha, we say we treat them like our enemies. Which means we ask them to exercise a lot. We ask them to wake up before 8 o'clock in the morning because we believe after 8 o'clock the mucus builds up in the body. So wake up before 7 o'clock. So the meridians, the nadis have opened up and the circulation increases. We also ask them not to sleep after lunch. We ask them to practice a lot of back bends. We ask them to do a lot of breath of fire exercises so the blood can flow. Of course, singing and dancing, which I've already mentioned, that's the best. What happens is every person today has anxious, anxiety, stress. We are often asking people to sing and dance. It might find funny for you, but it has helped a lot here, whoever is doing a consultation with us. So for a kapha, basically, we are asking them to eat also not too heavy in the night. Mucus foods in the evening should be avoided, such as like cucumbers, mayonnaise, cream, avocados, bananas should be avoided, right? So we ask them to
Sure.
cut the heavy food in the evening and do something like intermittent fasting. That means you eat between 11 and 5 or 10 and 5, and that should be useful as well.
Perfect. I just forgot about the pitta type for a good oil, which is
Yeah, it's a coconut oil for application. They can do
coconut.
oil pulling with coconut oil. They can apply, actually, depending on your type, like Vata, that is air type, can apply sesame oil on their foot, on their body, if they have no time for the full body, on the abdomen. So it brings the
Yeah.
Vata down, the air down. Fire people can do the same as well with coconut oil applying on the foot, on the abdomen. So the heat goes down.
It's funny.
And
It's funny that normally Vata people are more into coconut oil, and normally it's the opposite. So they should be, especially in the winter, especially in the autumn, where when it's not advisable to use the coconut oil for these kind of types. For these types, it's precisely what they're gonna use. It's coconut oil in food or in hair or in the skin, and
no, coconut oil
the
is
more
good, but sorry about that. But
sure.
coconut oil for vatas, why? Because they love the smell.
Sure.
Vatas and pittas get attracted to smell very easily. And that's what is, again, we often ask people who are air and fire, because again, one of the reasons for the stress is this. Maybe because the body is getting tired, the mind is very active. And this also happens when you are tired a lot. Your energy goes low, so your body is tired, your mind is very active, and then you look for love, you look for happiness, and that's food. And so usually what happens with air and fire, in the evening they start emotional eating, and they start eating sweets, nuts, cookies, and we say don't touch the food that you love, especially in the evening, because if you eat one nut you might eat up the whole packet. It's like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
About, do you have any idea or any opinion about the aromatherapy in the Ayurveda? I know there are already many oils mixed up that it's to sometimes it's sold in pharmacies and on the internet. Do you have any specific opinion about the aromatherapy to help these cases of stress and anxiety?
I don't have much experience in that, but usually what we do, depending on the types, also we recommend the oils. For example, a fire, we would recommend more of a cooling smelling oil, such as
Okay,
rose,
or
jasmine,
mint, or
lavender.
mint.
Yeah, mint as well. You know,
Okay,
yeah. For a fire, for an air type, we do recommend again rose, but it should be more of the warming type. It can be the base oil, can be sesame, but we often ask them to have a little warming oil in the daytime and a cooling oil, like not a stimulating oil in the evening. So we often ask them to have
sure,
like not very strong scented oils for
sure.
air type in the evening, especially. The
So
water types can have it because they need their meridians to be opened.
yeah, I just asked this because here in the West, many people are looking for aromatherapy, and you see aromatherapy all over the place, and people start using it without knowing which type they must use. And because specifically speaking about that, about the body types and the matches that can be done with aromatherapy, they don't know most of the times how to be used. Many people's bought it. Okay, I have some essential oils at home, but I don't know how to use it. Or they
It's a
burn.
full science. It's a full science typically.
Yeah,
Aromatherapy, lots of people do these courses to learn more about it. So
yeah,
that is why I said I don't want to talk much about it. It
yeah,
is a
yeah.
disrespect for somebody who knows a lot about the aromatherapy.
And
So
there's
that is
people
why
who
I
don't know
let them do
nothing.
the job. What do you mean? What is that?
And there's people who don't know nothing, and they sometimes they start giving advices and types, and the thing doesn't go very well. But that's another conversation. Okay, just to finish the kapha type, the sesame oil, it's a good oil as well, isn't it?
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
So definitely in kafas, as I said, we are asking them to, again, not to eat too late in the night. We ask all the types today because that's another thing that we have noticed from the lockdown, that and especially for the kafas, that people are eating and they're just lying down on the sofa going to sleep because there's nothing to do, and that's also making them heavy in the body and tired in the mind. And as
Sure.
a result, what happens, the circulations, the hormones are not produced properly, and that's what is happening as well. So you must have seen when we have a term called endorphins. When people exercise, when they dance, endorphins are released. But here, because of no activity physical, the circulation is hampered. And for kaphas or any other types, because after eating, if they're laying down, it's going to make them more tired. So the normal concept is for kaphas walking more than 5,000 steps, if not minimum 1,000 steps. But because of the lockdown, we are saying to everybody today, walk 1,000 steps after lunch and dinner. And
Sure.
after
Needs to
dinner,
be
don't have any meal. And don't have
needs
anything to eat.
sure needs to be stimulated. The system needs to be stimulated.
Definitely. The food
Of
has to
course,
go into the intestines.
of course. Needs to be, the metabolism needs to work. Otherwise, it's going to stop. It's going to block everything.
Yeah, and it's going to ferment. And usually, what happens is there's a concept that in Ayurveda, I don't know, it might sound funny to you guys there, that this food which is not digested, like if I keep a plate of, say, a meat on this plate here or on my hand and go away and come back in 2 days, it's going to either smell, ferment, produce mucus or acid. Same thing happens in our intestine, and in Western medicine, we call it as IBS. So these gases or mucus or acids will travel in our meridians and block the energy. And as a result, you will feel the energy is not flowing. That is why sometimes a lot of people, when they exercise, they burp a lot. When they exercise, they get very gassy. Why? Because the energy which is blocked is coming to the intestines. That's how
Of course.
the concept of Panchakarma also helps, which we are going to talk later.
Yeah. Or later or just now, because I was just thinking about the Panchakarma, which is it's a fantastic solution. I'm not saying that it's a fantastic solution for everything, but at least for most of the cases, it will help a lot. It will be useful for cleansing. It will be useful for giving more energy to unblock the meridians. The sensation after the panchakarma, it's fantastic. Can you just speak a little bit? We already are close to the 45 minutes, but we can
Okay.
speak a little bit more about the panchakarma and how it proceeds when the people goes to you and have the consultation and what it goes next.
Yeah, depending when people come to us, we look for their blood pressure, what medicines they're taking, what type they are, and accordingly we plan a therapy like lymphatic massages and deep tissue massages to bring the toxins which is gone into the body and settled for a long time. It means whatever I'm eating, if it has not been digested or metabolized or not flushed out from my body, it stays in my system and then it goes and stays in my body cells. So with the panchakarma, whatever blockages are coming from mucus food. So because when I talk to a lot of people about blockages, they don't understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
A simple blockage would be like, you understand, in the heart blockage, cholesterol as a blockage, or sometimes sugar which becomes thick, diabetic retin, that meridians get blocked. So similarly, it's the mucus, the acids, the gas, which is blocking. So again, during this Panchakarma, we are giving very light meals so that your body doesn't produce more toxins. And the lymphatic massages, deep massages, they bring the toxins to the intestines and they're flushed out. So that's why people start feeling lighter. The meridians start feeling better, and that would be a good idea, for that reason.
Sure. But like I was saying in the beginning, it is really important to be away to do these kind of treatments, not having the same routine that normally you have throughout the year. So it's really important to move and of course at the moment it's a bit complicated with all the lockdowns, with the borders closed. Of course everything it's a little bit more difficult, but it's important not to have the same contact, to be more available to absorb the new things that will come to us. For instance, the treatments, going to the beach, read a book, doing something that normally you don't do. That's a good way also to receive and to, because it's a matter of energy. The energy it's getting stimulated from the treatments, from the food that you will be eating. Energy it's all over the place, so I believe the Panchakarma will intensify that acceptance, and it's going to be easier for the benefits to be absorbed. I'm just thinking about the ghee. This is like a private.
That is why I didn't talk here about the ghee, because sometimes
Yeah.
nowadays I'm getting a lot of people in India who are getting vegan. So we
Yeah.
are giving them coconut oil or almond oil instead of ghee.
Sure.
You know,
But the
like-
benefits are not the same.
See, the whole idea, you have to understand what is the idea of the Panchakarma when we are giving the ghee or fat. We have one concept which is water soluble toxins. That is when you take hot water, lemon water, or you take some herbs like, say dandelion or something, they clean the water soluble toxins. And then we have fat soluble toxins, which bind with the metals, which bind with the heavy fats in the system. And that's done mostly with the ghee. So we found that ghee is more on top level, and ghee absorbs it doesn't create so much heat in the body. Coconut oil also does the same. Almond oil also does the same. Some other oils also do the same. But these oils could produce a lot of heat in the body sometimes. And that's why we recommend in Ayurveda more coconut, for example, ghee, because it
Sure.
can take the properties of the herbs and retain the property of the ghee itself. That is
Because
why.
that doesn't happen with if I just cook the coconut oil with the herbs, the effect it's not going to be the same.
Almost this, yeah, it won't be almost the same effect. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That
Okay,
is why
so
fat soluble toxins, that is why we do Panchakarma. We make people drink a little of ghee or more ghee, depending
Of course.
on that. It is not to make people sick, but it is to clean the thing.
no, of course. But then they can see and they can feel the effects of it. So a bad thing happens, and then several good stuff comes after. So I believe if we put in the balance, it's gonna be more easy to accept. So, all right. So I believe we already talked about most of it. We're not gonna talk here about what we can take or not to take. It's a matter of seeing the whole picture and working in an holistic way. The doing yoga, having the correct food at correct times, the breathings, the yoga, the singing, the dancing. I
And
believe
letting
there's
go out,
many.
because again,
Sure.
people today
Sure.
are taking a lot of things from others. Like
Yeah.
if I start saying, "Oh, there's no money, there's stress, there's blah blah blah,"
Yeah.
you start taking it in. So
Sure.
it's about meeting right people, meeting the happy people, talking about positive topics, and letting the bad things out from yourself, not for putting it to others' head, but to
Yeah.
out to the nature. That's why the singing is the best. That is what I
And
mean.
not seeing too much television and social
That's again,
media.
as I'm saying, we are trying to tell people not to do that. But as I said, we tell people don't see the mobiles, televisions, but as we are humans, they do the same all the time.
Of course,
So
of
we
course.
say to
But
them, if you are doing this, come home, lie down, do your breathings, change the energy, and that's what I
but
can tell people.
if we can advise them to do a little bit less and they do it, that's perfect.
Yes, definitely. Because I tell you, every second person I'm meeting today, we give an advice, no television. But as soon as they're home, they're back to their television. So what do we say? Half an hour to 1 hour before sleeping, no television. That's what we
Sure.
can say.
Sure. Okay, so we just close to the end. I just want to leave here the note that if people that are watching us or going to see later, if you would like to have a consultation with an appointment with Dr. Rohit, we can do it online. We can be the bridge to it. But in the future, I believe we will have the company of Dr. Rohit with us at Villa Prana, or if not, we will announce the dates for the Ayurveda treatment in Goa. It must be in December, I believe. Let's see if everything with the borders, the vaccines, everything gets more stable. And to meet Dr. Rohit in that wonderful place, which is Goa, India, and to be with that nice people, nice energy, good companies. And let's see if we can manage that and we can organize and we make it happen. The last few times we already had to postpone it. Let's see if on the third time we can go ahead. I don't know if anyone has any questions and want to put them here on the comments, you can, or you can just send us an email.
Definitely.
Or
We'll wait for 2 minutes here and just wait if somebody has questions.
Sure, of course.
I don't know how many people have logged in because I'm not using this thing. So I don't know how many people have logged in.
There was a time with more or less like 20 something or almost 30, but since this is it's afternoon, I cannot show you outside, but it's like wonderful day. Many people, even with the lockdown, I believe they are out for sure. Because this is not how it works in India. People are responsible, but with this weather, it's impossible to stay at home. So I believe they just prefer to go for a walk or to take their dogs for a walk, because now it's an excuse most of the times to go out there. I'm just walking, giving a nice and pleasant moment to my dog, so I need to be with him. So let's see if anyone wants to have an answer, a question explained. We will be here a few more moments. Let's see if we can manage all the details from the trip, and especially for the therapeutic part, which is in Goa with you. It's always a pleasure, and to see the benefits after the treatment and the happiness of the people after the treatment. We already missed that, and I believe you also. And it's nice to see you all stressed during those days with the groups. I believe you missed that already as well. Neste momento, o Dr. Rohit caiu na ligação, portanto eu acho que isto bateu mais ou menos dentro do previsto. Okay, just a second. He's coming back. Okay, here. That's perfect. It was almost in the end.
Yeah, perfect.
So we have here Agnes. She went with you. You know Agnes. You remember Agnes?
Yeah.
Okay. You can see the comments, don't you?
Yeah, I can see that. So I can see
Sure.
Venda saying things. Thank you, Venda.
Sure.
Carmen as well. She's watching from Switzerland. That's great to see. And also Agnes. Yeah, great.
Sure. So if there are any questions, just let us know. Send us an email. Carmen does the yoga classes with Berta, one of our yoga teachers.
That's great.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Agnes as well. We are always in contact with Agnes. Agnes does the classes also with us. Vanda, she's one of our yoga teachers. I believe next time we go to Goa, we'll just grab Vanda and take her with us to know more about Ayurveda and Goa and yoga. So it's going to be a pleasure as well. And I believe that's it. My dear friend, many thanks. Obrigado for giving us your time, your knowledge, and I believe some other subjects it will come up, and we'll just discuss that here at Conversas na Vila,
more
right?
topics, I'll be happy to join here from the
Sure.
knowledge of Ayurveda and yoga. I'll be happy
course.
to guide. and
Of
talk
course.
about
Teresa Jesus, also, you knew Teresa? She's just saying thank you, Dr. Rohit.
it. Thank you.
É um prazer,
This is
Teresa,
all
tê-la
here.
aqui.
That's great. And stayed
Thank you
until
very
the end.
much.
That's great.
Thank you very much to all. Obrigado, Rohit. Thank you very much. And see you all soon. Next week, we're going to talk about Ayurveda as well. If
really? Okay.
people don't know, I probably don't know because I didn't announce nothing yet. But it will be next Thursday at 9 o'clock in the evening with David Ferreira. David Ferreira is a therapist that works with us here as well.
That's great.
Normally he gives the training courses for Portuguese students, and he will be here with us to talk a little bit more about Ayurveda as well, probably in a general way. With you, I prefer to stick to a subject and then discuss a little bit. So we just carry on with Ayurveda, which is our passion as well. Okay?
That's perfect. Good to know.
Muito obrigado. Thank you very much.
See you then.
Namaste.
Namaste again.
Bye. Thank you.